From when a player stops his own attack to help an injured opponent, to a superstar giving his jacket to a cold child, these are the most respectful moments in football history. It's more than just a game. It's about humanity, respect, and moments that will restore your faith in football. Porto's winger Pepe was racing toward the goal with a clear chance to score. But when he saw the opponent defender Pedro Amaro collapse with a hamstring injury, Pepe did something beautiful. He kicked the ball out of play so the injured player could get help. His coach called it a hymn to football, but that's just the beginning of our journey through football's most beautiful moments. In a crucial match, this striker scored what looked like the winning goal, but there was a problem. He knew he'd used his hand. Instead of celebrating, he walked to the referee and admitted the truth. The goal was ruled out. His team didn't win, but he won something more important: respect. In a world of diving and cheating, honesty still exists. From individual honesty to team-wide respect, watch what happened next. When Bayern Munich fans displayed offensive banners during their match against Hoffenheim, this amazing thing happened. Both teams walked off the field together. When they returned, they didn't try to score. Instead, they just passed the ball around until time ran out. They chose to make a statement. Football has no place for hate. Sometimes the most powerful goals are the ones you don't score. Speaking of powerful statements, this next moment broke the internet. At the UEFA Super Cup, Atlanta walked onto the field with children who have special needs. Goalkeeper Arola noticed the child walking with him had autism and might be overwhelmed by the noise, so he put on noise-reducing headphones to show solidarity. That simple gesture said everything about inclusion and understanding. It was so emotional. Football belongs to everyone, but this next moment was way emotional. During a heated tackle, one player saw his opponent falling dangerously toward the ground. In a split second, he caught him and prevented what could have been a serious neck injury. He literally saved his rival's life. The opponent was fine, but the respect shown in that moment was everything. But saving lives is nothing compared to what happened when this legend passed away. After Diego Maradona died, his daughter came to watch Boca Juniors for the first time without her father. The team was ready. When they scored, every single player held up Maradona's jersey toward his daughter in the stands. She broke down crying, but they were tears of love. Football never forgets its legends, and love never dies. Honoring the dead is one thing, but celebrating the living is another. This grandmother literally stole everyone's hearts. Roma scored against their rivals, and while his teammates ran to celebrate together, Alessandro Florenzi had other plans. He ran straight into the crowd to hug his grandmother. In a world of choreographed celebrations, this was pure love. If you've ever had a special relationship with your grandmother, you know why this moment hits different. Speaking of family love, this next moment was full of respect by a legend. At a UEFA ceremony, Cristiano Ronaldo was sitting with his young son when Lionel Messi walked into the room. Instead of ignoring his biggest rival, Ronaldo pointed Messi out to his son and encouraged him to go say hello. Watching a father teach his child to respect greatness, even from a competitor, was beautiful. Some things are bigger than rivalry. From teaching respect to showing it, this referee moment was incredible. During a Bundesliga match, a player suddenly collapsed on the field. The referee immediately recognized it was a medical emergency and started life-saving procedures. His quick thinking and actions saved the player's life. After the match, the entire stadium gave him a standing ovation. Referees get a lot of hate, but this one proved they're heroes too. But now we're about to talk about some heartbreaking moments, so prepare for tears. Brazil had just lost to Croatia on penalties in the World Cup quarterfinals. Rodrigo, who'd missed his penalty, was crying on the ground. While Croatia celebrated their historic win, Luka Modric stopped everything. He went over to comfort the heartbroken Brazilian. Even in their biggest moment of joy, they remembered their opponent's pain. True champions show grace in victory. Speaking of World Cup heartbreak, this moment made even enemies cry. During the Copa America final, Messi got injured and realized he couldn't keep playing. The man who had carried Argentina on his back for years broke down in tears, fearing this was his last shot at glory. Even rival fans felt the anguish. In that moment, love for the game transcended borders. Messi's heartbreak was everyone's heartbreak. From emotional meltdowns to unwavering loyalty, this striker's raw honesty stunned the world. Werder Bremen were battling relegation and earned a penalty that could save their season. Aaron Hunt stepped up, but something felt off. He knew he hadn't been fouled. Instead of taking the penalty, he confessed to the referee and had the decision overturned. In a high-stakes match worth millions, he chose truth over triumph. That's integrity for you. But football isn't all heartbreak and honesty. There's beauty, too. West Ham had just scored against Crystal Palace and were partying like it was the Champions League final when calamity struck. A rogue advertising board toppled onto a young ball boy. Without hesitation, the players ditched their celebrations and sprang into action, hoisting the board off the lad. Turns out, the best save wasn't on the field after all. But then, something even more heartwarming happened. On a cold, soggy night at Wembley, Jude Bellingham walked out with his mascot, a young boy in a wheelchair. Noticing the little guy shaking like a leaf in the rain, Bellingham handed over his own jacket. No cameras demanded it, no manager suggested it. He just thought, this kid needs a coat, and made it happen. Heroes don't need capes, just a good sense of decency. And speaking of heroes, this next manager's move was a game changer. Leeds United had scored while an Aston Villa player lay injured. Cue outrage from Villa fans. But instead of basking in the chaos, Marcelo Bielsa did the unthinkable. He instructed his players to let Villa score to even things up. The Ellen Road crowd roared louder for this act of fairness than for any goal they'd seen. Bielsa proved that sometimes fair play is the real win. Speaking of wins, this next moment shattered all rivalry rules. Liverpool had just pulled off the unthinkable, overturning a 4-0 deficit against Barcelona. As the Camp Nou faithful stormed out, one Barca fan stayed behind. Cameras caught him giving Liverpool a standing ovation, despite his broken heart. It was a masterclass in losing with dignity, proving that sometimes, even in heartbreak, you can recognize greatness. And speaking of applause, this next ovation rewrote history. The Santiago Bernabéu in 2005, Real Madrid versus Barcelona, football's ultimate grudge match. Ronaldinho turned Madrid into his personal playground with 2 jaw-dropping goals. As he celebrated the second, something truly bizarre occurred. Madrid fans started clapping, more joined in, and suddenly the entire stadium was given their sworn enemy a standing ovation. In 100 years of El Clasico, only Ronaldinho and Maradona had ever pulled this off. Talk about turning tears of rage into tears of respect. Ronaldinho came back to Camp Nou in AC Milan colors, and Barcelona rolled out the red carpet. After the final whistle, Captain Carles Puyol handed him the trophy, pulled him into the team photo, and reminded the world how to bid farewell to a legend. From emotional farewells to heartwarming reunions, this one had all the feels. When Neymar returned to Santos after years in Europe, could have acted like a superstar. Instead, he personally greeted every player, gave interviews with genuine smiles, and took time for every fan. His humility and love for his childhood club reminded everyone why he became so beloved. You can take Neymar out of Santos, but you can't take Santos out of Neymar. Now, on to the next most respectful moment. When this young girl's favorite player finally noticed her calling from the stands, she almost collapsed with emotion. Instead of just waving, he walked over, gave her his jersey, and checked if she was okay. Her reaction was priceless, pure joy mixed with disbelief. Sometimes, the smallest gestures leave the biggest impact. Speaking of unforgettable memories, this World Cup moment was extraordinary. England's Jude Bellingham was tearing Brazil apart in the World Cup quarterfinals, leaving them with no answers. So, what did Brazil do when he got cramps? They turned into his personal medical team, offering water and support like it was a day spa. Even when losing, they showed respect. Sportsmanship in action. Or maybe just trying to tire him out even more. Brandon Williams was tangling with an opponent during a Norwich match. He was ready to start a fight. Then he looked up and saw who it was. Christian Eriksen. Instead of anger, Williams gave him a hug. This was Eriksen's first game back after almost dying on the field at Euro 2020. Williams knew what this man had survived and chose love over confrontation. Sometimes a hug says more than any words. And now we're about to witness one of the most heartbreaking tributes in football history. A player tragically passed away after collapsing during a match, leaving behind a newborn child. Every team stepped up to honor him, wearing his name and ensuring his child would grow up knowing their dad was a hero. For once, football wasn't just a game. It was a family reunion with tears and tributes. But when Lionel Messi joined Inter Miami, DeAndre Yedlin handed over the captain's armband like he was passing a sacred torch. Miami won their first trophy with Messi as captain. But in a plot twist, Messi gave the armband back to Yedlin to lift the cup together. Leadership goals: share the glory even when you're literally the GOAT. But this hospital visit showed true brotherhood. During this Roma match, their teammate suffered a medical emergency and was rushed to the hospital. After the game, every single one of the teammates went to the hospital to be with him. They didn't go home to their families. They went to support their football family. When someone you care about suffering, everything else can wait. But this next opponent help was beautiful. Lisandro Martinez was down and hurt badly. The Manchester United defender couldn't move. Instead of leaving him for his own teammates, two Sevilla players, both Argentinians like Martinez, gently picked him up and carried him to safety. They treated their opponent like family because sometimes nationality matters more than club colors. That was international brotherhood. But now, let's talk about a goal that made the whole stadium remember their own mother. Frank Lampard had just lost his mother and missed Chelsea's previous match while grieving. When he returned, his teammates were motivated to win for their heartbroken friend. But the respectful moment came when Lampard scored. As the ball hit the net, he pointed to the sky for his mother while his father watched from the stands. There wasn't a dry eye in Stamford Bridge. From personal loss to collective mourning, this tribute stopped the world. Cristiano Ronaldo had announced the tragic death of his newborn son. The football world was heartbroken for him. When Manchester United played at Liverpool, one of the biggest rivalries in England, something beautiful happened. In the 7th minute, the entire Anfield crowd stood up and sang, "You'll never walk alone," for their enemy's loss. Football became bigger than rivalry that day. That was one of the greatest respects ever recorded in the history of football. Still on Ronaldo respect because he's the GOAT and he has a lot of them. Cristiano Ronaldo had spent his entire career chasing perfection. 39 years old, playing for Portugal, he scored his 900th goal. As the ball hit the net, the man who had won everything broke down in tears. Seeing someone who had achieved so much still get emotional about the game he loves, reminding us why he's special. Passion never ages. And finally, the most respectful moment in football history. Croatia had just beaten Brazil on penalties to reach the World Cup semifinals. It was the biggest moment in Croatian football history. While his teammates celebrated wildly, Luka Modric saw something that made him stop. Rodrigo, who had missed his penalty for Brazil, was crying alone on the ground. In the middle of his country's greatest victory, Modric left his celebration to comfort his heartbroken opponent. He hugged him, spoke to him, and showed him that even in defeat, he was respected. That image of a man choosing compassion over celebration, kindness over victory, is what makes football the beautiful game. These 30 moments prove that football is more than goals, trophies, and victories. It's about humanity, respect, and understanding that we're all human beings sharing this incredible sport we love. These players didn't just win matches, they gained respect. These prove that the greatest victories in football aren't always measured on the scoreboard.